The conference room had fallen into a suffocating silence, the kind that made even the ticking clock feel too loud. 12 interpreters, highly paid, highly educated, flown in from different countries, had already failed. The billionaire CEO sat rigid in her chair, her patience shattered, her deal slipping through her fingers as a foreign delegation waited, confused and frustrated. No one could understand them. No one could bridge the gap. And just when it seemed everything was lost, the cleaning man quietly placed his mop against the wall, and spoke. If you believe in kindness and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Lifeline Tales, because stories like this deserve to be heard. His name was Armin Qureshi, and to everyone in that towering glass building, he was invisible. A single father, a cleaner, a man who wiped away the dust others left behind. His uniform was always neat but faded, his shoes worn down from years of walking long corridors that didn't belong to him. Every morning, he arrived before sunrise, long before the executives with their luxury cars and tailored suits. And every evening, he left quietly, carrying not just his cleaning supplies, but the weight of a life that had once been so different. Years ago, Armin had been a man of promise. He had studied languages, not because he wanted wealth, but because he was fascinated by people, by cultures, by the way words could connect hearts across oceans. He had dreams of working in international relations, of traveling the world, of becoming someone who mattered. But life had not been kind. A sudden tragedy had taken his wife, leaving him alone with a young son and a mountain of responsibilities. Dreams were replaced with survival. Degrees were replaced with debts. And slowly, quietly, Armin disappeared into a life no one noticed. His son, Ayan, was the only light he held on to. Every night, after long hours of cleaning offices, Armin would return home and sit beside his son, helping him with homework, telling him stories in different languages, making him laugh even when his own heart felt heavy. Ayan believed his father was the smartest man in the world, and in truth, he was. But the world outside their small apartment had no idea. That morning, the building buzzed with tension. A major international deal was at stake, one that could define the future of the company. The CEO, Zara Rahmani, was known for her sharp mind and unyielding standards. She had built her empire from nothing, and she trusted no one easily. When the foreign delegation arrived, speaking a rare dialect that even experienced interpreters struggled with, Zara had expected her team to handle it. But one by one, each interpreter failed. Words were mistranslated. Meanings were lost. Frustration grew. And time was running out. Armin had been cleaning the hallway outside the conference room when he heard the voices. At first, he paid no attention. It wasn't his place. But then he paused. The language, it was familiar. Not just familiar, it was one of the many he had studied, practiced, and spoken fluently in a past life. His heart raced as he listened more closely. He understood every word. The delegation wasn't angry, they were confused, misunderstood, and on the verge of walking away from a deal that could change everything. For a moment, Armin hesitated. He looked down at his uniform, at his hands rough from years of labor. Who would listen to him? Who would believe him? He had learned long ago that the world often judged a man before hearing him. But then he thought of his son, of the lessons he wanted to teach him. Courage wasn't about comfort. It was about doing what was right, even when it felt impossible. So he stepped forward. The room fell silent as he entered, eyes turning toward him with confusion, irritation, and disbelief. Zara's expression hardened instantly. This was not the time for interruptions, especially not from someone like him. But before she could speak, Armin addressed the delegation in their language, calmly, fluently, respectfully. The effect was immediate. The delegates' faces lit up with relief. Their posture relaxed. They responded quickly, their words flowing now that someone finally understood them. Armin listened carefully, then turned to Zara and translated with precision, capturing not just the words but the meaning behind them. It was as if a locked door had suddenly opened. Minutes turned into an hour as Armin moved seamlessly between languages, bridging the gap that 12 professionals could not. The tension in the room transformed into focus, then into excitement. Ideas were exchanged. Agreements were reached. And by the end, the deal was saved. When it was over, silence returned, but this time, it was different. It was filled with awe. Zara stared at Armin, her mind racing. She had built her career on recognizing talent, on understanding people. And yet, she had completely overlooked the man standing right in front of her all this time. There was something humbling, almost unsettling, about realizing that brilliance could exist in the most unexpected places. Armin lowered his gaze, unsure of what would come next. He had not acted for recognition. He had simply done what needed to be done. But Zara wasn't finished. She asked him questions, where he had learned the languages, how many he spoke, why he was working as a cleaner. Each answer revealed a story she hadn't expected, a life shaped by sacrifice and resilience. 8 languages. Years of study. Dreams put aside for responsibility. In that moment, Zara saw not a cleaner, but a man of extraordinary ability. The days that followed changed everything. Armin was offered a position within the company, one that matched his skills and valued his knowledge. It wasn't charity, it was recognition. For the first time in years, he felt seen. The transition wasn't easy. There were whispers, doubts, people who questioned how a cleaner could suddenly sit in meetings and contribute alongside executives. But Armin didn't let it shake him. He worked harder than anyone, proving through actions what words could not. At home, Ayan watched his father with pride. The man he had always believed in was finally being seen by the world. Their small apartment filled with a new kind of hope, one that felt stronger, brighter. Zara, too, changed. The experience had reminded her that leadership wasn't just about strategy and success, it was about people. About looking beyond titles and appearances. She began to pay more attention, to listen more carefully, to ensure that no one in her company felt invisible again. And Armin never forgot where he came from. He continued to greet the cleaning staff with respect, to share meals with those who felt overlooked, to remind others that dignity had nothing to do with job titles. His journey became a quiet inspiration within the company, a story that spread not through announcements, but through the impact he had on others. But the most powerful moment came one afternoon, when Ayan visited the office. Standing in that same building where his father had once been unseen, the boy looked around with wide eyes. And when he saw his father, not with a mop, but at the center of a discussion, speaking confidently, respected by those around him, he smiled in a way that said everything. Armin knelt beside him and whispered something simple, something that stayed with Ayan forever. That no matter where life takes you, no matter how small you may feel, your worth does not disappear. Sometimes, the world just hasn't noticed yet. And that is the truth so many forget. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, comment, and share it, because someone out there might need this reminder today. Before we end, tell us in the comments, do you believe talent can exist in the most unexpected places? The world often rushes past people like Armin, too busy to see, too quick to judge. But sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one act of courage, to change everything. And when that moment comes, it doesn't just transform one life, it transforms everyone who witnesses it.